Greetings, this is Tariq X with National Network View. On tonight's broadcast, NNV reporter Nina Shabazz discusses her interview with Valerie Campbell, a three-time published author and relationship coach, advising women how to attract the right man. Later in the show, Mark Harris, director of 1555 Filmworks and founder of the Englewood Film Festival, discusses his new comedy movie called White People Money. Lastly, Vernon Muhammad with MUSA Global Holdings Inc. will discuss blockchain investments, wealth building, and cryptocurrency. Before we delve into the top news, let's do a recap on the current events we've covered this week. On yesterday's broadcast, our NNV reporter Rosalind Parks spoke with Vernon Muhammad, NNV contributor, about China's human rights abuse of Uyghur Muslims and other ethnic groups in China's Xinjiang region.
Why is China cracking down on Uyghur Muslims and other minority ethnic groups in its northwest Xinjiang province?
Well, this has been a long time issue between the groups of people in that area and the Chinese government. It's an area that is considered East Turkestan by some who dispute the area, that, and China, of course, is saying that this area belongs to them, and that's where they get the name Xinjiang from. And the problem, according to the Chinese government, the officials say that the actual problem with the Uyghurs is that the Uyghurs are a group of radicalized Muslims, as far as what China is saying, because the Uyghurs, which is the largest ethnic group in that area, are in a battle and has been in a battle really since around 1949 and beyond, but truly since 1949, in a battle for self-determination, because they are not Chinese people. They have their own language, they have their own culture, and they want to be independent of China. And so they have been in this all-out battle over the years for self-determination.
NNV reporter Rosalind Parks talked with Delphine Sellers with Urban Community Ergonomics about nonprofit organization, its partners, and Catawba Trail Farm.
Where is Catawba Trail Farm located?
It's actually located in Durham, North Carolina, in what we call Northern Durham. If you wanted the actual address, it's 2080 Sawmill Creek Parkway here in Durham. We're on 53 acres of land.
That's
the majority of it now is wooded, which is one of the draws to the farm. So probably from 15 to 20 acres is what we're working on, and the rest remain in forest area. Okay. Right now we have plans to clear an additional 2 acres of the land so that we can provide access to more individuals who want to learn the skill and the trade of farming. So other than that, it will remain forested for camping, for hiking, for other outdoor activities such as bird watching.
NNV's Rosalind Parks interviewed NA1 rapper and recording artist about her personal journey to rapping and recording professionally.
How do those experiences translate into your music?
Absolutely. Definitely they translate because I have gone into a certain realm, a different way of life. It's almost like you are in a different world when you join the military. So it has definitely, changed a lot in my music because of that, those experiences, as far as, actually learning how to, be a person that is focused on survival fully. And 100%, that's really the only mission, is to survive and to help your comrades. So it definitely, impacted my music.
Our NNV reporter Rosalind Parks spoke with Dr. Akili about the rising level of concern over the CVST blood clots and other reactions being reported after taking the COVID vaccines.
What exactly is a clot?
Well, a clot is something that happens in the body normally. Most of us have had a scratch, a cut, some type of injury where we bleed, and that bleeding would continue if we didn't have the ability to clot. And so we have what we call clotting factors that are produced by the liver and other tissues. And then there's a specific blood cell type called platelets that actually clump up and produce what we see as a scab. And so that is the actual purpose of a clot, is to keep things from bleeding, keep us from bleeding to death when we have any type of injury.
Okay. Now, is it normal for a person to develop blood clots?
Yes, in those situations that I'm talking about. So, and then another example would be like a woman when she gets pregnant. There actually is a clot formed around that sperm and an egg after conception, and it starts to grow. That is considered a foreign body to a woman's body. So the body actually produces a clot around that to protect that growing baby. And so in situations like that in the human body, there are many normal reasons that we should produce a clot.
NNV's Rosalind Parks spoke with Thomas X, who shared his thoughts about the senseless gun violence affecting the community and about the killing of 7-year-old Jaslyn Adams at a McDonald's parking lot in Chicago.
Black on black crime and another term, black on black violence, are controversial phrases often used to label and convey deeper meanings.
Right.
Are these terms what they call dog whistle language?
Coded language.
Yes.
Or, language to get support from others outside of the community. Well, there's a yes and no attached to that, because we are unable to deny that violence happens within our community. However, violence happens within the communities of individuals who live in the community. So I'm pretty sure there's Asian on Asian violence, right? There's Caucasian on Caucasian violence. However, what's different with black on black violence is that there are others outside of the black community that also engage in violence toward black people. So with that term, it's possible that it's used as a dog whistle term or coded language to have others justify the violence that they commit on our community. However, we are unable to completely deny the fact that we have to deal with the issues within our own community of this violence against one another.
Our NNV News anchor brother Willie Muhammad was joined by guest Dr. Gary Clark and Sister Sadia Kareem, who discussed the recent news stories and constant injustices being committed by police against Black people in America.
Why do you think we are continue to see and witness these assaults against Black people in America, not only from law enforcement, but even from regular white folks who have no authority at all?
So it's business as usual. With modern day technology, what we're seeing now is what was being these atrocities that were being enacted on Black people, for centuries. So it's just a modern day lynching, but now that we have technology backing it up. So if we look historically, what would happen back in the early 1800s, the 1900s, we had these lynchings that would call out a gathering of people. People would pack up their children. I mean, you would have large assemblies to witness these mass killings. And so now with social media and technology, we're just seeing what has been always happening. And now we just have to speak to the truth of it. And I believe that the media, the way that the media is portraying this, is desensitizing those behind the scenes with their guns. And then with us, it's, the Willie Lynch mentality, putting us in our place and giving us the fear that the intention was there from the very beginning, is to put fear and to cull a population.
NNV anchor brother Willie Muhammad spoke with Dr. Gary Clark and Sister Sadia Kareem about their thoughts on Buffalo, New York police officer Carrie O'Hone in her 13-year battle after being terminated for stopping a police officer from using excessive force on a black man.
What other legal actions can she take?
Well, she went a step further, as Dr. Clark stated, by codifying, making sure that there's intervention when officers see their fellow officers using excessive force. And so that is a big deal, because not only did it was codified in Buffalo, but that particular law is being duplicated all over the nation. So good job, Officer Horn. And, you know, timing is everything. And she reminds me of the woman in the Bible who kept going back and back and back to the judge, asking for justice and mercy. And so, you know, unfortunately, you know, we had to see what happened with George Floyd. But when she saw that happen to George Floyd, as a mother, as a black woman, she knew that she had to make sure that she continued the fight and continue to cry out against this injustice. And so, you know, through this particular woman, you know, be the will of God, this whole blue wall of silence may be eradicated and may be torn down. And when I say the blue wall of silence, or the blue code, or the blue silence, it is this code that officers have, that when there's misconduct, they do not snitch on each other. They do not, you know, call it out. And so they'll feign ignorance, or they'll perjure themselves in order to protect that which is wrong. And so good job. This is what you call an example of a good officer who has compassion and humanity. And that's what the police departments need.
NNV's Brother Willie Muhammad and his guests, Dr. Gary Clark and Sister Sadia Kareem, discussed the closing arguments in the Derek Chauvin murder trial and policing the police.
Do you think he's going to be convicted?
We want to see that policing is on trial. And there are those who want to place policing on trial, because policing is on trial. And if the general public, the authorities know and understand that if policing fails, that there could be an all-out disruption of what takes place. They know and understand that if policing fails, that those of us who are part of the minority community, the African American community, and people of color, that those individuals who are factions within that community may indeed engage in an assault on the system. But guess what? Let's just say if this case falls right on, and we discover that the verdict is flipped, and they also know and recognize that those who come from the right wing, those militias, and that's why it kept secret, that what will those militias do? And they come armed. They come armed with all sorts of military weapons, and so the preparation is not just for people of color, but it's also for those right wingers out there.
On I Have a Testimony broadcast, our NNV News anchor, Brother Willie Muhammad, interviewed Chuck D, lead rapper of Public Enemy, about a wide range of social and political issues relevant to the Black community.
What would you say has been the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's impact on the hip hop music?
That he's humble, great voice, his tone is penetrating. And you add some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to that, it's going to touch your soul. I don't think a lot of people, even if they say the same thing the minister says, he's gifted with a tone. I don't think a lot of people also talk about his tonality. His tone is very musical. It's very soothing yet penetrating. And when you add, you know, a word of God or whatever you want to believe to that, you know, yeah. Very few people have that, Brother Willie. If like they might have the words, they might even have the diction, but they even might have the flow. But the minister has all those things, and he got the flow, the diction, the word, the truth in the word, and he got the tone, just the right voice of the. I mean, in hip hop and rap, people will talk about Jay-Z. It's flow, but he has a tone, the tone. And this is why the minister said it's very important for artists to kind of like, you know, say some of the right things. And if you can't say the right things, point to people who are doing the right things. Not everybody's equipped to have the mic. And when you get the mic, you got to move something.
Let us pause for announcements from our sponsors. When we return, our Global View co-host Nina Shabazz will be on to talk about her interview with Valerie Campbell. We'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. go to nnvnews.com/donate.
Asiatic Minds, online education, helping our children to discover their God-given skills, gifts, talents, and passion that will allow them to see their greatness, as well as the greatness of our people, and upon discovering that greatness, infusing them with the desire to use it for the betterment of themselves, their families, our people, and the world. Call now, 502-219-4848.
This is Sister Sajda Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajda House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahouse.com.
The hashtag Bank Black social media campaign made strides not only in revolutionizing how we bank, but also how we think. The movement inspired thousands of African Americans across the country to transfer or deposit millions of dollars into Black-owned banks. These are banks that will invest in urban communities, employ African Americans, support Black businesses, and inspire Black home ownership. This is a very proud moment for our culture as we are taking small, but significant, steps towards building Black power through Black wealth.
Thank you for tuning in to NNV News. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, National Network View. This is Clifton Muhammad with NNVnews.com.
This evening we'll be discussing a conversation that our NNV contributor Nina Shabazz had with relationship enhancement coach Valerie Campbell. We hope to get an insightful look at the dynamics of the law of attraction and how it can be used to attract the perfect person for you. Welcome back, Sister Nina.
Thank you. It's good to be here. The conversation we had was really interesting. So I wanted to get a little bit more insightful because I hadn't really heard the law of attraction used in this manner. And so this was one of the first things I asked her is how she got started. And this is what she had to say.
I'm a 3 times published author. So my first book is She's Got That Vibe. The second book is The Blind Spot. And that is an anthology. And my third book, which was released last year, is called The Difference. And that's based on a spiritual experience that I had, in fact, where it was revealed to me that there is no difference between right and wrong. And I didn't understand it. And it literally just breaks it down from a particular perspective. And that's how I came up, in fact, that led into the concept of how I discovered that there's no Mr. Right, there's no Mr. Wrong, there is only your perspective, because you can't attract more than how you feel about yourself. So those books are available on Amazon. You can also contact me via my website, valerieacampbell.com/contact or /apply if you would like to book a free consultation with me to check your vibe and see why you're attracting the type of men that you do, and also to break those patterns of where you find yourself sabotaging your relationship. So look forward to seeing you. It's been great, and it's all about just adding value to people's life. Also, as well, I do a podcast every single week. My show is called bishaniradio.com/The Secret Vibe. So if you put that into Google, you'll also find me there as well. Bishani, spelt B-S for sugar, H-A-N-I. Bishani.com. And the show is called The Secret Vibe, where I share loads of little tidbits on how to change your pattern, how to change your vibe, how to raise your frequency. So thank you so much, and I hope I've added value to somebody out there today. Bless you. Bye-bye.
So that was her kind of wrapping up our interview. But we did get into a little bit more of the specific details and how she came up with her specific formula, and just kind of what curated her particular platform. And this is what she was telling me.
I'm a data and energy coach, and how I got started was really, I didn't know, or I struggled with how to relate to men because I was brought up in a household where love really wasn't demonstrated. And so I went on a personal search, a personal development search to really find out about myself. And on that journey, I came across the law of attraction. And as the universe would have it, I landed in a job where I was surrounded by 120 men. I was the only female, the only black female at that. And throughout that 10-year period, I worked with these guys and I would literally just interact with them. It was my teaching ground on how to relate to men. And they would confide their secrets with me because I was actively interested in, how do you attract and keep a man? I would actively ask them the question of the day. And sometimes they would share their secrets with me and say, Valerie, we'd be banned from the round table for sharing this with you. And so I acquired all of this knowledge and I would share it with my girlfriends. And as they implemented what I had passed on, their relationships would change. And so what I realized is that it's not really about the man per se, it's about the woman, and it's about the standards that she set for herself. And that's when I realized there's actually no such thing as Mr. Right or Mr. Wrong. There is only, energetically speaking, Mr. Perfect match. And so when you change your vibe or your frequency, the law of attraction states that like energy attracts like energy, then what you find is that you start to attract a better type of guy. And so I help women to strip away the beliefs that they have, because that projects an energy, and the energy that they project, is what calls in the type of man that they're attracting. So really helping women to realize that they are the common denominator of all of their relationships.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so I thought that she had a really neat perspective, and I was asking her, how did she come up with the acronym VIBE, VIBE? And I kind of wanted to know, like, what was one of the most important things that she got out of all of her training with, her relationship coaching, and what was kind of the prevailing thought or one of the most important things that she took away from those who were seeking to attract their, perfect person. And this is how she responded.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into that video, I definitely had to make a comment. Like, she said she was an addictive energy coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Addictive energy coach. That's interesting, because I was, just listening to what she was saying, and I heard that she was in a situation with 120 men, and she was the only female
Yes.
that was there. I can only imagine how uncomfortable that could have made her, being the only female being there. But then the fact that she was able to utilize her energy and get them to express and open up to her. But then on top of that, she was able to make an opportunity out of that. So, I mean, I don't know if she went into that job with that specific reason for all of that, but I have to say, you definitely have to have some addictive energy if you're able to get 120 minds and all 100, but just men, because as men, we don't like to open up about too much anyways. So to get men to open up, and then especially to her, just being a woman and being a stranger to them, you got to have some type of addictive energy. So I'm already sold on the fact that she's an addictive energy coach, but absolutely. So we should definitely go on to the next clip, because I'm definitely interested in seeing what else she's got to say about addictive energy.
Absolutely.
So when I came out of that environment, I worked there for over 10 years in environmental services. I realized that I actually had a unique formula on my hands, and this was working. And so I called the vibe that these women project, the women that effortlessly attract men. And sometimes you might look at these women and you think, she's no more intelligent than myself. But yet, what is it about her? It's not like she's even more beautiful than myself. What is it about her, that je ne sais quoi, that I don't know what? And so I called it the vibe. And so when I would pass on that information to my girlfriends, they would make jokes and they would say, I wonder if she's got that vibe. So they said at that time, you know what, we need a manual on this. And so with that idea was born, or should I say birthed, my first book, which is called She's Got That Vibe. And vibe is actually an acronym for vision, intention, belief, and expectation. And I found that when I took women through this journey, they would then become their authentic self. So in essence, attract an authentic man or authentic love. Like I mentioned earlier, there is no Mr. Perfect, Mr. Right or Mr. Wrong. There's only energetically your perfect match, because you can never attract more than how you feel about yourself. So it's all about changing how you feel about yourself. So the V stands for vision. What is it that you're blind to about yourself, that you're not fully encompassing? And so I teach women to have vision. And this is really rooted in, what does God say about you? That you're marvelous, that you're a masterpiece, that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. And it's about not having other people validate you or even try to cement into your mind what they feel is right for you. It's like, what do you want for yourself? And also vision is also about understanding the power that you have through understanding the spiritual law of attraction, that you attract who you are. And so from that place of vision, now you can now set the I in the formula, which is intention. Now I always just cut to the chase, and it's like, how do you want to feel in a relationship? So often a woman might say, I want a guy with washboard abs, and curly dark hair. Then it's like, well, why do you want those qualities? And ultimately, it's because they want to feel a certain way. So I get to the crux of it. How do you want to feel in a relationship? Set that intention out there, you see, and allow God's universe to take care of things. It's infinitely wise, and it will organize the details, and it will unfold through a sequence of events. That is what I found. So it might be, for example, all of a sudden a friend invites you to a party. You go to the party, you meet a guy, you see, or the steps might be longer, but it's just about following that intuition as opposed to leaning on your own understanding of who you think that person is. And then the B is for beliefs. Now, what beliefs are you holding that's limiting you or preventing you from seeing or having that person show up in your life? Because the beliefs that you hold can actually push away the type of person that you want. So, for example, you may believe that through past experience, you may just have this belief that all men are liars. And because of the way that the law of attraction works, it says your wish is my command. I'm going to give you more reason to feel that way. And so what do? You're focused on liars, and you will attract liars, you see. And that is how it works. What you focus on, you will attract. So I help women to strip away the beliefs that are limiting them from attracting the type of guy that they want, and help them to come more into their authentic self so that somebody actually loves them for them. And then the E is expectation. It's about expecting your answer to be answered. You see, again, the universe in its infinite wisdom knows what you want at the perfect time. And so it's about not being attached to how you think this person's going to come into your life, when this person's going to come into your life. It's about just really focusing on filling your cup up, focusing on your passions and your goals, and in doing that, becoming even more radiant. And really understanding feminine power. Now, I haven't even really touched on that, but understanding that there's a big difference between feminine energy and masculine energy. But I'll get, that's what I call the law of sexual polarity. So yes, there are many laws that if we understand it, we can actually use it to our benefit.
Wow, this is some very interesting information here. I'm gonna have to get her book. What is it called? She's Got That Vibe, right?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I have the book right here. I just purchased it, and there's a lot of gems that she just dropped. And so I think it's definitely something to study, because you learn more about yourself. The more you learn about yourself through self-discovery, I think that you will be able to kind of strip away some of the limiting belief that she spoke of.
Absolutely. And she may be talking directly to women, but if we really listen and pay attention to the teachings and apply them, we can apply them to our lives, and we can utilize them for more than just relationships. Because I'm just listening to the things that she's talking about, even her acronym vibe, vision,
Right.
intention, belief, expectation.
Right.
We let a lot of the things that we believe in and that our intentions to hinder us from being successful in many areas of our lives, whether it be business or whether it be just having friends. So it's not always just relationships. And the way that she's breaking things down, really, you can really tell that she not only knows what she's talking about, but she's also been helping people be successful in more areas than just relationships solely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sister Nina, for coming on tonight. And I definitely appreciate that valuable information that you presented to us.
Yes, sir. You're quite welcome.
Thank you. Have a good one. All right, let us pause for announcement from our sponsors. Coming up, Mark Harris, director of 1555 Filmworks, will talk about his new comedy movie, White People Money. We'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button, or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel at National Network View. I am Vernon Muhammad with NNVnews.com.
White People Money, a new comedy, will be coming out soon. Its filmmaker is Mark Harris, director of 1555 Filmworks and founder of the Englewood Film Festival. Joining us today is our brother Mark Harris, CEO of 1555 Filmworks. Thank you for joining us today, brother.
Fine. Assalamu alaikum, brother Tariq. Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you all. Definitely.
Yes, sir. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for coming on. So I see you have a new movie coming out May 7th. And it's a comedy called White People Money. Well, tell us a little bit about the film and why you made this particular film.
So the theatrical release is May 7th. It's going to hit. It's going to be in limited theaters, which is going to be in Texas, Cleveland, Detroit, and then we're going to announce more cities by tomorrow, and then more cities next week. But the video on demand release is actually tomorrow, where it's going to be on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, anywhere that, Vudu, anywhere that you can purchase a video on demand or movie is going to be there. But the reason why I made this film, because I wanted to touch on the subject of a couple, like the question was, like, if you had $1 billion, what actually would you do? How would you, what would you do for your community? And so we have the brother played Barton Fitzpatrick, who plays a character by the name of Kareem, who wins $1 billion. And when they win this money, him and his girlfriend, when they win this money, they they want to live the good life. They want to get the big homes and the fancy cars and so forth and so on. But when they do get those things, they discover that those things don't make them happy. So what they do is they decide, okay, since we have $1 billion, what we're going to do is we're going to start building up the community that they're from. And so that was the reason I wanted to do this film.
And all of that is tied into a comedy.
Yes.
Wow, that's going to be interesting because that's a serious topic. And that's one good way to connect, especially to our community, is by tying in serious topics and kind of making them, satire and some type of comedy out of them. And believe it or not, a lot of people, they relate, or they can relate and understand, the conversation topic more. So I'm excited to watch this movie.
Thank you.
And I definitely would like to check out some other films. So, like, what are some other films that you may have done, and what are some of the more popular actors that you have worked with?
Well, one of the films that we also had a theatrical release we did back in 2014, a film called Black Coffee. That film stars Darren Henson, Gabriel Dennis, Erica Hubbard, Christian Keys, and Lamar Rucker. That film was released in 2014, and also it was released on broadcast BT. They played it from 2014 up for like the last 3 or 4 years after that. Another film we have is a film called No Regrets, a film that stars Brian White, Monica Calhoun, who was in Players Club and The Best Man, Loretta Devine, Sharon Leal, Amy Joseph, who's now on Snowfall. And then we have another film called Stock Options, which stars Tasha Smith, who's we know Tasha Smith from the Tyler Perry movies, Why Did I Get Married? Amy Joseph again, and Anthony Smith. So those are a couple of films that we've produced and we put out.
Okay. And is this like a specific place that we can find your films?
Yeah, all of my films are on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Or if you all want to, it's also on Tubi. Tubi is, for those who are not familiar with Tubi, because it just came about in the last few years, so a lot of people are not familiar with Tubi. But Tubi is a ad supported. It's like Netflix, but it's ad supported. So if you go on Tubi, just tubi.com, most of my films are there as well, and you can watch them. Just sign up and you can watch them for free. But if you want to go on Amazon Prime, there's a fee to actually watch them.
Right. That's awesome. I'm definitely going to have to check out some of your movies.
Thank you.
And as a filmmaker and a founder of 1555 Filmworks, you have sold hundreds of thousands of copies of movies in the U.S. and overseas. The movies have come out from major distributors and have self-distributed, and you have self-distributed many of your earlier films as well. So how long have you been making movies, and why did you name your company 1555 Filmworks?
Well, the reason why I named the company 1555 Filmworks, I know in school, we go to school, I know I was taught that slavery started in the year 1619, but as we do our research, we know that slavery started in the year 1555. So between the year 1555 and 1619, we have 64 hidden years. And where where the black man and the women were broken down from an African to what we are, so what you see today. And so that's one of the reasons why I took the name 1555. And what was the second question?
Yes, sir. So the second
in terms of distribution, okay. And so I never, growing up, I always had a love for movies, whether it was Spike Lee, John Singleton, from Chicago. So I was a big fan of John Hughes, who did 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, and so forth and so on. So I always had a love for movies. but I never knew I wanted to make movies. So it was about 1997 when I decided, you know what, I'm going to just, and I don't use the word try it loosely, I'm going to just try to take a shot at writing screenplays. So I wrote my first screenplay, and I, let a few people who read it, and they gave me some feedback and then so forth. I just started to write screenplays. So I wrote about 20 screenplays, and I started to write screenplays for a director by the name of Barry Bowles, and so what I would write on spec. So spec is you're writing a screenplay, but you don't get paid. You don't get paid for the screenplay until it get made. And so I would write these spec screenplays for him, but it was a learning experience. And I tell him to this day, that experience for me, no, you couldn't have paid me enough money to take away that experience and that learning experience, because during that time, he taught me a lot in terms of structure, in terms of, just to sharpen my skills and because I think that had he not hired or brought me on or asked me to write these screenplays, I probably would have just stopped writing screenplays. But it was because this brother was there and he was like, I need you to write something for me. I need you to write something for me. So this one particular time, he had asked me, he said, okay, Mark, look, I'm going to shoot this next project. I have this idea. If you write the screenplay, then it's going to be the next project that I'm actually going to shoot. And so I said, okay, cool. So I wrote the screenplay again on spec. And so it wasn't the next project that he shot. He shot a different project. And of course, back then, this was around 2005, 2006. I was, of course, I was emotional, and I was like, bro, like you told me, he's like, Mark, I have to do what's best for my company. Again, that was a learning experience for me. And then I was like, if I wanted to do this myself, or if I wanted to tell my stories, I have to go out and direct these projects myself. And so I pulled together $500 and shot my first film, which is a film called Why Do Men Cheat back in 2006. And I'm sorry, 2005. We shot that project, and I had no experience on making movies. I'd never been on the film set. I was like, I'm just going to make this movie. And when I shot this project, so when you're shooting a movie, we do what is called coverage. Coverage is you get your medium shots, you get your close-ups, you get your wide shots. So I'm sure people are somewhat familiar with when they watch, because we all love movies and watch some type of movies. And we know that, you see people close up, you see people on the medium shot, and we see people far away. Those are like your coverage. So when I shot my first film, I did all wide shots, meaning I shot everything wide. And so when I sent the footage, at that time I was shooting on video, we were shooting on video. And I sent the footage to my editor, the guy who actually produced, not produced, but he came on as a producer to do post-production. So he called me up. He's like, where are the rest of the videos, the tapes? I was like, well, that's it. He said, well, everything is wide. And so again, that was another learning experience. So to get coverage. And so, but I knew at that particular time that I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you have a lot of experience and information that you could give us. So, I'm definitely sure we should be able to bring you back on so that we can even go deeper into, just the specifics about filmmaking, because we have a lot of filmmakers, Black filmmakers, young filmmakers out there who do want to hear, the information that you have to give. So we definitely, if you would be willing to come back on, and we can definitely go even deeper into some more, questions about the specifics of filmmaking. And, I could tell, you have an impeccable hustle. You've been self-distributed, and you've gotten people to distribute for you. So, how did you develop the strategic media needed to get your movies exposure, such as interviews, articles, and news coverage? And do you have a public relation team or just consultants?
Well, I have consultants, but I just picked up a PR team for this White People's Money project, which is a company which is also my agency called Sheba Media Group, and been very supportive of my career. And so now they're doing my PR for me as well. So in terms of distribution and in terms of self-distribution, you have your pros and your cons when you're doing both, So when you're doing self-distribution, of course, how it is, you have to you have to put in that work. You have to get on the street. You have to go to different cities. You have to have back then there were DVDs. So I just go door to door, knocking on door to door, selling DVDs and so forth and so on. But when you have a distribution company, you still have. I think a lot of what we do as filmmakers is we depend on the distribution companies to get the word out about our films. That's why they say that most films don't make a profit or don't turn a profit.
Mm-hmm.
We never had a film that we produced that didn't turn a profit because we just don't depend on the distribution companies to market our films. So we're always marketing our films, just like you see White People's Money. I have a marketing company called Black Films Rock, and we took charge and we said, okay, we're going to take charge and we're going to market because we can't put our future into the hands of other people. We have to, do it ourselves.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, brother. And that's definitely some valuable information, even information that, I didn't even know of and that could definitely be that I can utilize for business as well. And like I said, we definitely would love to bring you back on.
Yes.
And we can go deeper into this information as well. And I definitely apologize for the fact that we had to cut the question short just due to time.
Yes.
I do appreciate you for coming on today and giving us that valuable information, my brother.
No problem. Anytime, just let me know.
Yes, sir, brother. Thank you. Let us pause for announcements from our sponsors. Afterwards, Brother Vernon Muhammad will give a breakdown on cryptocurrency and its value. We'll be right back.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App NNV News.
Greetings from National Network View. This week's Final Call cover story headline reads, "How much more can we stand?" The painful death of Daunte Wright, the traumatic death of George Floyd, and the Derek Chauvin murder trial in Minnesota brings into focus how fragile Black life remains, and the constant, elusive, and almost non-existent giving of justice to Black people. How much loss can we stand? And have we had enough? This FCN Volume Number 28 edition features the middle page article by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan entitled "The Intensifying Universal Cry for Justice." To read more, subscribe to finalcalldigital.com and tune into the all-new Final Call Radio. This is the NNVnews.com Final Call Cover Report.
This is Sister Sajda Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajda House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahouse.com.
Please make sure you leave your comments and questions in the comment section below. Follow us on Facebook, National Network View, and make sure to check us out on Twitter as well, National Network View. This is Sergio Gutierrez with National Network View, signing off.
Digital currency is turning out to be a great place to put money. Bitcoin digital currency rallied on the financial market, hitting a new record high in 2020.
When the U.S. economy tanked back in March of 2020, right around the beginning of the pandemic, Bitcoin's price fell 50% in one day, with other cryptocurrencies following suit. Just over a year later, digital currencies have never looked brighter. Bitcoin pole vaulted into 2021 with prices briefly surpassing $60,000 per coin in March. Other tokens saw similar gains, pushing the total crypto market cap to over $1.5 trillion. Now, large institutions are getting a cut of the action. Square and Tesla have put Bitcoin on their balance sheets, and even once stodgy firms like BNY Mellon are building crypto products. The Federal Reserve is even exploring the possibility of a digital dollar. 12 crypto billionaires have now made the 2021 Forbes World Billionaires list, up from 4 last year.
Joining us is my brother Vernon Muhammad. How you doing, brother?
I'm feeling great, brother. How are you?
Man, I'm good. Feeling fantastic, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us. So, with all the craze about cryptocurrency and trading and investing, and everybody is wanting to get involved, first, can you just give us a little bit of information on what is a blockchain and what is blockchain technology?
Sure. Blockchain is simply, the best way to understand it is it's just a record of transactions. For the old school people who used to have checkbooks, if you remember a checkbook, in the back of the checkbook, there used to be this long, this pages where you can write down the date and the time and what check you wrote and what check number. A blockchain is simply just a digital version of that ledger or record of transactions. And the blockchain technology is technology, just like Microsoft Windows or Oracle or whatever. It's technology that takes that record of transactions and turns it into a computer coding that actually serves a function.
Okay. And attached to these blockchains, we have cryptocurrencies, right? Or it would be like a cryptocurrency will be attached to the blockchain so that you could know how you're purchasing, right? So give us some information on cryptocurrencies and why people would want it or need it in the first place.
A cryptocurrency, really, or a token, you hear both terms synonymous. They represent the technology that's underneath. So there's like you said in the beginning, the craze. Everybody's hopped on coins. Which coin? This coin, that coin. But what we really need to focus on is, what does that coin represent? There's over about, I think when I looked at Coin Market Cap, which is where you would go to find out about all the cryptocurrencies that exist, there's over 9,400 different cryptocurrencies in existence now. And I don't know how many hundreds or thousands more come into existence each week. Right. But each one of those represents some type of software or technology function.
Oh, wait, so you said it offers represents some type of software or technology function.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
I was just going to say Bitcoin. Everybody knows Bitcoin.
Right.
The blockchain that is under Bitcoin allows people to send and receive money and keep a record of that. So the coin just represents that. And the more useful that technology underneath is, the more valuable that coin gets.
Okay. So like kind of how Ethereum is connected to NFTs and the digital art.
Similar to that. The Ethereum is like the next level after the Bitcoin blockchain. Ethereum is a blockchain. The coin that represents the Ethereum blockchain is called Ether. So the Ethereum platform was designed so that people can take that baseline technology and build off of it. So you have all these different coins that started coming out, but they were based on the Ethereum blockchain. So it's a way to use technology. And the more useful that solution came up with, that person came up with the solution, the more useful that was, the more valuable that coin that represented that particular use case was.
Wow. Okay. So then how can this benefit the average man or woman in today's world, and what's in it for us?
This represents a whole new phase of technology. It represents a whole new direction that really the whole world is headed in. There's a projection that by 2027, worldwide, there's going to be $30+ billion of money spent on blockchain technology. That means businesses, governments, entities around the world are just in a few years from now going to turn this into a $30 billion industry. That means the average man or woman, you, me, people who look like us, who need to close the digital divide, who need to close the wealth gap, we have an opportunity to take advantage if we would just learn, not the hype, not the craze, not the bandwagon, but learn what this tool is, what this technology is, how to use it, and then start using it for our advantage.
Wow. No, absolutely. And going back to what you were saying about how each cryptocurrency is attached to, has their own technology that it's or blockchain that it's on, because we hear about Bitcoin and Ethereum and G999 and Dogecoin especially has been a real big craze with Dogecoin. Can you kind of explain to us in layman's terms, what's the difference?
Again, don't believe the hype. That's what first came to mind when you asked that question. The craze and the hype is what people hop on. I don't know if people are talking about it, but if you look back into what a Dogecoin is, Dogecoin started as a joke, as a prank. It was like, let's see if people will throw money behind something that it doesn't do anything. And you can see where that gets people. But we've seen that before in history. We've seen that with GameStop. We've seen that with AMC and what people went through there. So you can't focus on hype. The biggest difference in all of these coins is when you look at the technology that undergirds them. Each one serves a certain purpose. You mentioned G999. A lot of people are familiar with WhatsApp, right?
Yeah.
You know, the WhatsApp app. You want to send communication, text, video, whatever, and you think that it's going to be encrypted and secured, use WhatsApp. But WhatsApp is on Google's servers. So technically what you think you're sending secured and what you think is just private between you and who you're sending it to belongs to Google, just like Gmail, just like all these other platforms that we so freely use. The blockchain allows you to interact, and it allows you to engage in whatever the transaction is going to be, and you're totally secured, private, encrypted, and decentralized.
Right. Okay, it makes more sense now. So the blockchain is like the big tech company, if you will, that controls all of the smaller tech, like how Facebook, or will have Facebook has Instagram, and like you said, WhatsApp and Google, and these different big companies have these different platforms that we utilize things on. But at the same time, WhatsApp uses Google's technology in order to operate. And so Bitcoin will use specific blockchains technology to operate. Dogecoin will use specific blockchains technology to operate, and so forth and so on. Is that kind of what we're getting to?
Correct.
Okay.
And instead of them being on this particular company's server that they control, that they operate, that they can control your access to, it's a worldwide network of computers. Everybody whose computer is connected to the internet, connected to the blockchain, is now a part of what this blockchain infrastructure is. So one person's computer can be kicked off, the blockchain still exists.
Wow.
Okay, you can't destroy it, you can't undo it, you can't erase something that's there, you can't tamper with it, because every computer that's connected to it verifies that what's there is legit.
Okay.
And that's totally different from what people experience with, say their bank account or your Facebook account getting locked out, or Twitter jail or whatever.
Right. Yes, sir. And that's a lot of information that I know a lot of our viewers are interested in getting more information on. So, just real quick, what are you working on in the blockchain cryptocurrency arena, and where can people reach you if they need more information on this as well?
Thank you. One of the biggest projects that I'm working on is promoting financial literacy and just basic understanding of what the blockchain is, how we can use it to our advantage. If people wanted to find out more about that, I would send them to my website. Go to www.goldmasterplan.info and find out, just start educating yourself. Don't get caught up on the hype of the coin, focus on the underlying technology.
Perfect. And thank you again, brother, for taking the time out to discuss this with us today. I really do, and we really do appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So, yeah, we're blessed. Thank you for joining us today and tuning into NNV News. Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, National Network View. This is Tariq X with National Network View News.